This is BackTalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, the most listened to podcast for parents by parents.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us on BackTalk, the talk show for Black parents. Today we have LaToyia Dennis. How are you, LaToyia?
Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday, beautiful people. I'm doing well. How about you?
I am doing great. Now, she is the founder of Motivated Moms, and she has a tour and a lot of things she's going to be talking about today and telling us about Motivated Moms. You are in for a treat. I'm going to tell you, I just read about the things you were doing, and you have some celebrity moms come, and I think that is really, really great because then they can tell you their story, because there's always a story. There's always a journey. It's never easy.
It's a story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us about yourself.
So, spent almost 20 years in the nonprofit industry as a fundraiser and nonprofit expert, sponsorship for some major brands. And a couple years ago, I have an 8-year-old, and back then he was 2, and we were on a flight, and he said, "Mommy, my cousin couldn't read." And I said, "Well, every 2-year-old can't read." He said, "Well, if they can't read, then they can't read their Bible." So we started a nonprofit called A Chance to Learn. His name is Chance. And initially, the nonprofit was just helping low-income moms pay for childcare so that their children can read. Fast forward 5 years, the city of Fort Worth and Fort Worth ISD and even Dallas ISD was talking about this problem that they had with children entering in kindergarten behind. So we started a Camp Smart Kid, science, math, arts, reading, and technology for 3 to 5-year-olds to prepare them for kindergarten. Well, then the kids that were going to my camp were the parents who weren't engaged. So I taught the parent engagement class, if you will. And at the end of that class, all of these moms said, well, it's hard to be engaged in my child's education because I don't have this or I'm not that. And from that, I said, you know what, it's a lot for us to advocate early education, but it's something else for us to motivate moms to be great women so that they'll be extraordinary moms and we raise better kids. And so 2 years ago, I became the Motivated Mom out of a parenting class.
That's amazing. I mean, it's amazing how your roots can start such grassroots, So, no, I totally feel you there. And I have a similar story. So this really excites me to hear now. So tell us exactly what Motivated Moms is all about. Just to kind of give us the overview of it.
So Motivated Moms is all about helping moms live a life of purpose, in abundance, and financially free. And the reason it's those 3 things is because a life of purpose says I'm happy. I'm doing what I love. In abundance says I show up great, the best me that I can be. And then financially free says, what does that mean for you? Some financial freedom for some people means that I just want to go on a vacation once a year. Financial freedom for another mom says, I want to be able to pay my bills on time. So those 3 things are so subjective, and it's up to you to live a life of purpose, in abundance, and financially free. We're providing the motivation, inspiration, and education to help you do that.
That's fantastic. So you tour different cities, and you just finished doing that for this 2017 year. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the tours and basically what can we see if we went to a Motivated Mom tour? I don't know why I keep getting tongue tied on Motivated Mom, but go ahead.
Tour. The tour was by accident, really. When I was talking to a friend of mine, she said, I said, hey, I want to motivate moms to be great women and extraordinary moms so that we raise better children. I'm telling her about this class I taught. And she said, oh, I'm going to give you $50,000 to do a tour. And I was like, oh, okay. So we launched out with this tour, and it really is a half-day event where moms are investing in themselves. Last year, we had a vision board class in addition to a luncheon where we had several moms, panelists talk about. Kelly Price last year spoke about how she had to reinvent herself after being married for so many years and finding herself single in her 40s. This year, we had Rose Rock and Jonetta Patton and Megan Good's mom, Tyra Warlow, and Shanice Wilson's mom, talking about the sacrifices that they made to ensure that their children were successful. Michelle Thornton, VP of BET Centric, BET Her now, who she helped change that name. She came in this year and taught a strategic playbook, strategies to help women win. And so it's all about helping you to live a life of purpose and abundance, financially free, in a half day that's fun and engaging, but it's also taking time for you to hear from other moms so that you can release the guilt. Like, we aren't perfect. We don't know it all. We have epic fails as parents, and that's okay.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And we learn from them. Yes, we do.
We do, and we learn from other people. And so having those panelists gives you a different perspective, because my story was different from Kelly's or from Michelle's, or from Dorinda's or Janetta. Just her talking about her life. She gave it up so that Usher could be Usher, and it paid off. But now here she is trying to find Janetta, and she's doing great things with her kitchen and chefs and all of that stuff. So it's just giving people an opportunity to see people from a different perspective, because I do think we oh, well, that's, Usher's mom, she got it made. Well, she has struggles too. Yeah.
Yep.
Chris Rock's mom, like, talking about how she had 17 children, right? Some of them were foster, but she raised 17 children. And, she'll tell you, like, Chris is amazing, but all of my children are successful. Some are more successful than Chris. You just see him the most. And I think it's fascinating, to hear those perspectives from moms.
And that's a mom for you. We're going to brag on all of our children, even if one is out there in the public eye. Well, I got two more over here, so yes, and they're amazing. So that's right. Go ahead.
Yeah, she brags on all her kids. Like, she talks about even the foster kids. She talks about all of her children. She's proud of them. And she's like a old school mom. You know what I mean? We are not best friends. Okay. I am your mom. We don't have time to be best friends. That's not why God gave you to me. She's that type of mom. I love her. I can just put her in my pocket and take her everywhere.
No, that's fantastic. Of course, Chris Rock, he's a legend in comedy now. Like, even though he's still young, people know who he is. He tells the truth. He's very well educated. So that says a lot about his mom. Like, his head is in the right spot.
Absolutely.
And I always enjoy his comedy because of that, because he has something to say that's usually about what's going on in the world that is absolutely true. And he makes it make sense in a funny way. Yeah. Yep. So I really do like him. So did you have any stories from the tour? Because I know every time when I used to go on tour with African-American women on tour way back when. And there was always one story that stood out in my head that made me just glad that I'm doing this. So do you have one of those stories?
Oh my gosh, so many. Like,
I'm sure.
There's so many. And some are like, because the Motivated Mom Tour, I didn't do a lot of advertising and promoting, right? Probably the biggest promotion was social. I did have a partnership with Black Enterprise, and it popped up in their magazine. And so a couple times, but the women who were invited by someone, right, who didn't really know what they were walking into, who didn't know who I was and what the tour was about, and they get there and they're like, in tears and saying, this changed my life because I didn't know about this. I wish I would have known. I would have brought more people, but they were so inspired that it sparked them to release failures, because we're talking about things that, I give a piece of my story at every single tour stop. I think the most impactful one was last year in Newark. We invited a group of teens, She Wins. And these are teens who have experienced some sort of tragedy in their lives. They've seen it. A parent die, a sibling be killed. They've seen tragedy. And She Wins is a great organization out of New Jersey. I love them. Donate to them. But shameless plug. But anyway, these girls were there, and one of the girls in the vision board class said, I just feel like, my past is so bad that I won't ever be what I want to be. She's 14.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, What do you mean your past is so bad that you don't believe that you can be who you want to be? And it just soaked in with me. So at the end of the panel, I always close out with a personal story. And I shared how she inspired me to share this story that I had never shared. And it was all about me being a kid. And I get touchy just sharing it, but me being a kid, having an abortion, and carrying that shame with me up until the point where when I had my son, we had miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage, and I internalized it. Thought it was my fault because of what I had done. And I shared the fact that after 5 miscarriages and my baby being threatened to be miscarried at 3 months, the doctor told us we had lost him. I had Chance. And we named him Chance because God gave him a chance at life. And I told her, if God would do that for me at what I considered to be my worst mistake or worst action, he'd still make me a mom. There's nothing in your past that could limit God for doing the same for you. And I think, Celeste, I think that for me, just seeing those kiddos there and the light in their eyes, or Fort Worth. My mom was at this one. My mom was a product of rape. She had me. I was a product of rape. I mean, my mom was raped. I'm a product of rape. And my mom was in the audience. And for this particular one, we invited a group of teen moms. And at the end of this session, I told these moms, I said, don't give up on your babies. I know it's tough. You're a teen mom, but you're ahead of the curve because you're in this room. But don't give up on your kids because your kids can turn out just like me. I was the product of a teen mom, and not just a teen mom that was raped. And so my mom stood up and she was crying. I brought her up, and it was the first time that my mom was able to release what happened to her and feel good about it because the room gave her a standing ovation. I was proud to be a motivated mom at that moment, because not only am I motivating the 100 people that came, but those teen moms and then my mom standing right next to me, who we had a challenging life, she and I, because she had to deal with the fact that she had this kid, right, who reminded her of what happened to her. And so that's what being a motivated mom is all about. You know, it's doing your best as a mom. It's being a great woman so that you'll be an extraordinary mom. And at the end of the day, we raise better kids. That's it.
No, I 100% agree. Our teens need to see people like you. They need to hear your stories because you can't be what you can't see. So the fact that you took this tour around the country and invited teen moms as well to see that, you know, this isn't the end of their story, that their story is just beginning. And, you know, I truly myself was a teen mom. I was 17. I was out of high school, but I was 17 when I had my first daughter, a similar situation to your mom. But I ended up marrying him because back then my dad was like, well, what you going to do about it? We were dating. So it was date rape. It wasn't called date rape back then. You know, we had been boyfriend and girlfriend since 16, but this was one of those moments where you say no, and he didn't take no for an answer. And it's just an awkward situation that I conceived my daughter. But, you know, I decided to have her. You know, I had having to go to Catholic school for 12 years. So they just like made us watch all these horrible movies about abortion. So I was kind of scared to even think about it. I found out I was pregnant going into the Navy. Like I was taking my physical to get away from this guy. And I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, and they gave me all kind of choices. You know, I could have abortion, I could have to put her up for adoption, and I just couldn't. In my head, I was like, no, you know, I can't. Or I could have her and then go into the Navy and let my mom or someone keep her. And I just couldn't do any of those right then. And honestly, I was depressed for like the first 3 months because here I am 17. You know, I was about to turn 18, but I was 17 years old. And I just did my first semester at Temple University in Philadelphia and just devastated. I had to come home and tell my father, who was so like happy that I was going into service because his whole family was military. He couldn't go in because of an injury he had. And I had passed I had one of the highest scores on the mechanical part of the written test. So he was so proud of that because he's a mechanic, you know. And I walked through the door and he greets me. Hey, how did you do? How did you do? And I'm like, and the recruiter just turns around and leaves me there. He's like, I don't have any part of this. And I had to tell him, you know, well, the Navy's test came back that I'm pregnant. And honestly, I had no idea. So when they told me at the physical that I was pregnant, only sign I had in hindsight was my breasts were getting bigger. And I didn't know. I had not missed any menstrual cycles or anything. So I'm sitting there going, and I remember sitting in a chair saying, why do we have to wait before we take the weightlifting part at the end of the test? And I said, oh, what if one of these girls are pregnant? Had no idea, might be me. And I was like, oh, that would be messed up. Those are the exact words that came out of my head. And I said to myself, that would be really messed up. And so when they called my name and said, hey, you know, your test has come back positive for pregnancy, I laughed because I just had the thought about everybody else in here, not me. And then I said, no, you have my test mixed up with someone else. And I was so convincing, they took it again. And they said, well, it's come back very positive.
Again.
And I was in shock because here I am. Prince and, you know, Revolution was out, Purple Rain. I got my hair like extensions in, you know, like Vanity 6 or something. I'm trying to be Vanity, right? So I'm sitting there and, you know, but I'm like, no, not me. You know, I'm about to get on a motorcycle because I was totally influenced by Prince and go cross country before I went into the Navy because they gave me that $5,000 bonus for going in. I was going to do this, right? So I wasn't a mom, you know, I wasn't. So, having that teen, and then when I had that, I thought, oh my God, my life is over. So I was still a teen. And then of course my dad was, you know, basically all for now, you got to marry my daughter, which made me go from the fireman into the fire. Of course, that didn't work out. But you know, I thought it was over, and it's not over. Look, I've accomplished so many things since then. And I don't want to brag about anything, but I've accomplished a lot.
No,
and
to be proud. Like
I am. I'm very proud, and I have 3 gorgeous daughters now. Yeah, I'm very proud of them as well, and they're very successful. But it took a start for me to see and not give up. I mean, I remember going to school and I'm doing papers while nursing my baby. And I'm typing my papers. So, and I don't want to get into my story because this is about your story. And it really is.
Motivated mom, because when we can share our stories with other people, we really make their load lighter. Like I remember at the end of that event, especially with the teen moms, they were coming up, hugging me and my mom, like thanking me because some of them felt like, I don't know, my life is over. Like you said, what am I going to do? And these were teen moms who had been kicked out of their house for getting pregnant. So they're living in a group home for teen moms. And so it's stacking up against them, right? The odds. And for them to be in that room and to hear that my mom was a teen mom, okay, and I turned out just fine, that I was an example of what their children could be, you know, and my mom made it. Like, she looks great. She went to college. She got her college degree. I mean, she did great, you know, and it took a while because that type of hurt, you have to peel back the layers. It's like an onion, right? To get to the core. But when you get to the core, it's the most flavorful. It's the most potent. You're the strongest at your core. And I think that's what we have to do with situations like that, is peel back those layers. And that's what we do. We peel back the layers of moms so that they can see who they are at their core and live a life of purpose in abundance and financially free.
Absolutely. Now we're running out of time. I could talk to you forever. But are there any future plans for dads in your future?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked. And so, Yes, we will have. So next year, I'm not doing a tour. Next year, I'm doing the Motivated Moms Retreat. So we're doing a 2.5-day retreat. It'll be really fun. It's all about, pampering and motivating moms. We will have a Motivated Mom Dads Edition panel at that particular event. And my husband is launching the Motivated Dad platform. And so
Awesome.
I'm so excited for him. He'll be launching the Motivated Dad. It's coming in 2018. And so we'll be doing some things together. But I am definitely doing the Motivated Mom Dads Edition panel with a couple panelists in 2018. A couple spots, though. We'll be at my retreat, but we'll also be at a couple other events that we'll announce soon.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell people how they can find you.
Oh, motivatedmom.org on the website, and that's my blog. You can find all the events there as well. But I am LaToyia Dennis, LaToyia Dennis across the board on all social platforms. I'm LaToyia Dennis.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I mean, this is a great conversation. We have to talk some more soon.
We got to do a follow-up.
I know.
Because
yes,
I
absolutely.
I want to interview you. You're amazing. Thank you.
Well, thank you. No, I really appreciate you. And thank you all for listening and watching. Yes. Make sure you follow us on social media. You can also follow LaToyia on social media. She's on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. We were the first Black Parenting magazine in the nation, and you can find us at Black Parenting one for first, on Twitter and Instagram and on Facebook. All right, guys. We will see you next time. You take care. All righty. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for tuning in to BackTalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We'll see you soon.